So, dzień dobry, hello, ni hao, dobar dan. I am Borut from Port of Koper. I shall present you a few slides about the port, just to give you an idea roughly how does it look like. So you can see here an aerial view, and same goes from here. So there is a few basic numbers. I work for a company which is running the whole show in the whole handling operations in the Koper port, including 12 different specialized terminals depending on the cargo type. Koper port, okay, it's in Slovenia, though it's not only meant for Slovenian market. It is also the #1 port for Austria. It is the #1 container port for Hungary with over 60% market share. It is the #1 container port for Slovakia with roughly 60% market share. In Czech, container-wise, about 9 to 10% of containers go via Koper, and I should mention also 1% of Polish containers apparently go via Koper nowadays. So to give the perspective of hinterland. Here is a quick list of the terminals which are making part of the Koper port. Each of them is specialized in certain commodity based on technology, based on markets that they are serving. Roughly, the story about Koper port is, let's say, if I can compare it roughly to the size of Gdynia port, the trends, I would say, it's positive. This is showing the total throughput in the Koper port, showing 22 million tons plus in the last year of throughput. Among terminals, I shall only mention two major terminals. One is car terminal, which is one of the largest in the Mediterranean, and is not only serving, let's say, as an import hub, but also more and more as an export hub. Here I can also mention that perhaps some very nice German cars are being exported to China via our port, which is also showing a very nice increase in terms of cars, and we are expecting another good year and even better next year in this regards. Here I wanted to show a Ro-Ro connection. This is to bring cars, project cargo machinery between Europe and China. I think that the transit times that are available on this service are very interesting. I believe this is the fastest ferry transit times between Europe and Central Europe, at least, if not the whole Europe. I'm switching to the container terminal just briefly. So we are an important hub to connect with the Mediterranean area, so Mediterranean basin. And however, the most business is associated to the Far East, especially China being the #1 trading partner. And again, consider on the other side the hinterland markets that were mentioned before. So this is mostly the area of cooperation. Container-wise, we are happy to see that the throughput in Koper is increasing with nice pace every year. Also this year we are expecting about 10% growth. And not only Koper port, we are also happy to see that the whole Adriatic route or basin is doing pretty well, showing above average growth on the level of European ports. Roughly in about 8 years' time, the throughput of Northern Adriatic ports has doubled. So I think this makes a very attractive proposition also for the future. Here I would like to make a statement because we are showing for the top 4 markets, foreign markets for us, how the container throughput was developing in recent years. Here we can see that practically once the customer starts to use Koper port, apparently they like it and they use it more and more. So there was hardly any hard times. It was a story going up all the time. Okay. Just to mention briefly, major services, there is 2 alliances calling directly at Koper port. This is, let's say, a quick service list of connection between China and Copper. Roughly 25 days it takes to go from Shanghai to Copper. And here the second alliance with the leading partner of COSCO Shipping, also having very nice connections throughout from China and to China and further broader Far East region, covering also Near East and of course Mediterranean destinations on a direct call. Here of course we would like to immediately invite COSCO Shipping to consider Copper for a bigger size of the vessels, as the slots nowadays are very well used. So we would like to see even a bigger vessel coming to our port. And making association to this slide, there is a very nice existing network of rail connections from Copper Port to the hinterland. And I think that the network is speaking by itself. Here, I think that as major three shipping lines already have dedicated rail services, I would think that now it's time on COSCO Shipping to consider their own dedicated rail services out of Copper Port, and we will be eager to assist you there. Maybe just the last point for the time being. Being one single port and terminals cooperating between themselves, it is very good to know. There is also very strong container freight station available in Copper Port, which is especially important where the cargo is imbalanced. And in our region, there is countries which have strong imports, and some countries have stronger exports. So there is regional imbalance in providing equipment, which can be solved also by container freight station at Copper. So cargo is coming with normal trucks, with normal wagons to the port, and we stuff in the containers from here. So this is roughly 10% of the volume in Copper is being solved like this, which greatly improves the balance status of the equipment. So for the time being, thank you.